Gillette Public Access Television presents North by Northeast, a news magazine about Northeast Wyoming.
I'm Joe Lunny. I'm here with Mayor Tom Knapp in Kaycee, Wyoming. We're here in beautiful downtown Kaycee on just a gorgeous fall day. We're in Chris Ledoux Memorial Park. Mayor Knapp, tell me about Kaycee and just give me a little bit of background about the history of Kaycee.
You know, Kaycee was started as a ranch, the Kaycee Ranch with the letters K and C, and when it was time to get a post office, the post office wouldn't allow letters to be a name, so they actually made us spell Kaycee to and that's where the name came from. Instead of just being K and C, it's spelled as K-Y-C-E, and it's slowly grown over the years, mostly agriculture community. We do seem to always have a little bit of natural resources out east and on the edge of uranium, and we have a big Bentonite play here, so we're a pretty stable community and pretty busy lately with all going on.
Okay, what's the population of Kaycee?
We have 263 people in town, and then when you have the communities of Barnum and Maleworth and Sussex that really don't exist anymore, we probably have another 350 people that live within a 20-mile area.
Gotcha. And you mentioned you're a native here, so tell me what it was like growing up here, and what have you seen changes in the community, or has it really pretty much stayed the same?
You know, we haven't seen any big changes in the community. I would have to say that raised here, I graduated from high school here in 1976 with 12 other kids, so your education was pretty personal. I mean, it was a great school. It's always been a real caring community. They really look out for each other. If you're walking home, if a kid's walking home and it's snowing or raining, you're going to get a ride. If you do something foolish, someone's going to tell you not to do that anymore. Pretty close-knit, very independent. It hasn't changed a lot. I think it's probably a little more stable than it used to be with the economy and stuff.
What one word would you use to describe Kaycee and its residents? Can you narrow it down to one word?
I'd say proud. I think the community means a lot to them. As you can tell by how it looks, we have a great Main Street. The effort that the Ledoux family puts into this beautiful park. Our school is new. We're upgrading streets and things, and the community. I think Kaycee, the community is pretty proud of the town and what it is and what it's about.
And it's gorgeous, I will say. I mean, I don't think we could have picked a better day to be here. I mean, it's still, and the wind's not blowing, and the leaves are changing.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Yeah.
Tell me, what does Chris Ledoux and his music mean to Kaycee?
You know, some of us, I was lucky enough to kind of go and see Chris through all of everything he did. I mean, from his artwork to his rodeo career to his music, and I think Chris and his family has really brought Kaycee out to the other people, to the United States, to the world, because of him living here and being out and famous and what he's done, and he's kind of put Kaycee on the map.
Tell me a little bit about your involvement with the Northeast Wyoming Leaders Group, and you've been a great supporter, I think, of Campbell County, Northeast Wyoming's economic development push to educate people. Tell me about that a little bit.
You know, when it was a great idea when Dwayne Evanson and Governor Friedenthal kind of started down this road, bringing all the Northeast corner together and let us talk and see what our issues are. It's amazing what we all have in common. And what we're trying to all achieve, but the really amazing part that I see with Northeast Wyoming, we have one voice. And it doesn't matter if it's the voice of Gillette, the voice of Buffalo, or Sundance, or Pine Haven, or Kaycee. We all have a voice, and we all seem to care about each other, and that we're going to create something better.
What's your favorite thing about being mayor of Kaycee?
Actually, it's my favorite part about being the mayor is I'm pretty proud of our community, and it's important, and I like being involved in it. And what little bit I contribute, there's a lot of people that contribute as much or more, and it's a great spot. It's busy.
Okay, speaking of busy, you talked about a new school. What other big projects does Kaycee have going on right now?
Next spring we'll be starting some paving our last 9 blocks of streets, repaving them. At that point we will have our last dirt road will be gone. So everything will be paved and upgraded with curbs and gutters. Some new sidewalks going to the schools. We're also in the process of trying to replace a water tank that is giving us some problems.
Is that do you have a 1% local tax, or is that all sort of grant funded, or how does that work?
Actually, the street project was really something because that was consensus money. And 2 years ago, there was $733,000 of consensus money that was given to Johnson County to share and use within the county as Buffalo, Kaycee, and the Johnson County saw fit or agreed to use it, and they give it all to Kaycee.
Oh, that's...
And then the state of Wyoming was very gracious in letting us match that through SLIB, which give us enough money to turn it into $1.4 million to pave our street.
Get everything paved.
Yep.
Wow. So, how many square miles is Kaycee roughly? Do you know, like area-wise?
I don't.
I don't want to throw trick questions.
You know, I'm not sure. I don't even think it would be 1 square mile.
Gotcha.
It would probably be more like a half or a little, 6 blocks.
Excellent.
6 blocks and 3 blocks.
3
4,
on
I
the way?
guess.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And what's your occupation? What do you do here in Kaycee?
I own a little repair shop on the south end of town. I have my sister works for me in the office, and I have 2 young men that are mechanics, and we work on cars, pickups, 4-wheelers, motorcycles, tractors, whatever.
Anything with a motor?
Yeah, pretty much.
Gotcha.
We'll hear more from Kaycee Mayor Tom Knapp in the next episode of North by Northeast. Coming up on North by Northeast, a trip to the Invasion Bar and Restaurant. One of the most recognized businesses in Northeast Wyoming is L&H Industrial, a local company with a global reach. North by Northeast sat down with owners Mike and Jeff Wandler to hear the L&H story.
Our dad, Leon Wandler, started a company in 1964 in Gillette, and he came here to work in the oil field, and he repaired oil field equipment through the 60s and 70s, and then he turned our company into a mining repair company in the 80s. And Mike and I started working here when we were kids, and been working in the company our whole lives. So our father founded it, and we're the 2nd generation, and now we're into the 3rd generation of a family company. So we're 50 years old this year.
And in those 50 years, there have been many changes.
A lot of significant changes. So from the 60s and 70s, it was mostly oil field, almost all oil field. They were working on drilling rigs, fixing and repairing drilling rigs, selling some parts into drilling rigs. Then we got into the mining as the oil field crashed. We went back into the mining business, went into the mining business, and really did service and repair for the mining industry. In the 90s, we started getting into manufacturing and repair, more engineering, more design, started working for the railroads, really started stretching out of Campbell County. In the 2000s, we actually stretched out a lot further and started exporting, started acquiring companies around the country and around the globe. So there's been a lot of changes. We also changed our culture seriously from the 90s to the 2000s. We really started focusing on safety, brought our quality up, and became a lot more professional company.
We've sold all around the world, anywhere that there's mining. So we've sold in Asia, Europe, Africa. We actually owned a gear shop in South Africa for a period of time. Right now, we're real strong in South America. So a lot of our exporting is into Chile, Brazil, Peru, a lot into Mexico, and then into Canada. And we've kind of pulled back into just focus on North and South America due to our culture.
And some of their projects go beyond international.
We build some of the best undercarriages for power shovels, rope shovels in the world. And NASA called us up. We hadn't worked for the government before. NASA started contacting our people saying, would you quote this job of upgrading the transporter? And the transporter is that machine that the space shuttle rides out to the launch pad on. And they needed to upgrade it to run the SLS rocket. I think they needed to add, 6 million pounds of carrying capacity to the machine. So we quoted the job. We didn't really expect to win it, but we wanted to be on the bid list because we fancy ourselves as having the best undercarriages in the world. And we put ourselves on the bid list, and it was the most expensive bid that we'd ever done. It cost about $60,000. But we ended up getting on the list and winning the job, and it was a 2-year job. We built all the parts in Gillette and in Sheridan, Wyoming, and sent them down to Kennedy Space Center, sent a team down to Kennedy Space Center, and remachined, took all the old rollers out of this undercarriage, remachined it all, put all of our rollers back in it, so that has an L&H underworks in that crawler transporter. So that's the most unique one, and not the biggest customer we have. We have a lot of other great big customers in the mines around here, and BNSF and the railroad that we're doing some very neat projects for. But as far as a unique job, that was very unique, kind of put us on the map. What else?
Oh, we're doing a lot of work for the railroad now. We're building a brand new bucket wheel loader for iron ore out of Superior, Wisconsin. We're working on a dredging machine right now that's going to work out in the ocean and dig ports and things like that. And a lot of stuff. We're doing a lot of big work for the oil sands mines up in northern Alberta. So a lot of that work's coming down to Gillette.
They also offered their thoughts on the future.
I think it's going to be, personally, I think it's going to be stable. I think coal is a stable fuel. It's very competitive, so I see a lot of profit margin struggle. There's a lot of hype about exporting, and I do think we'll export more, but it's not going to be huge. That's just my opinion. But I do think the export will grow to some extent, and it will help us. But I think a lot of just kind of more of the same stability, and you know, the coal mining here will be here to stay. But it's going to be a tough market that's tight on margins. So in other words, it's always going to be a commodity type, almost a commodity type business. But we'll be shipping lots of coal out of here, in my opinion. Our next biggest industry we're working is copper. So coal and copper is our two big industries, and we don't know. We like to think we know. Copper's doing okay right now, pretty well. We do as much work in copper mining as we do in coal mining. Our other industries we work in is iron ore and gold, and we all know gold's down, iron ore's pretty soft. So collectively, mining in general is down, and we obviously, Mike and I, we were talking about it this morning with our other partner, Jim Gleichman. We don't know. We wished we did, but it seems like things kind of, we were looking at our last 20 years history, and we had a few really good years in there along with a lot of other people, and then we had a lot of kind of normal years, and then we had some pretty rough years. And so we wished we knew that, but whatever comes up seems to go down, and L&H seems to adjust and you know, survive through those things and not go away. There's one more that we're looking. Oh, railroad.
Yeah, I think the railroad's very good right now. Railroads are doing really well in their maintenance away equipment, which is the area we work in. There's a lot of heavy industrial in that side of it, so we can manufacture those machines, we can repair those machines, build components. So we've been really L&H, when we're talking about the copper and the coal, it's really our customers, and when our customers suffer, of course we suffer. The way we try to survive that is we diversify. We decided to start diversifying back in the 90s, and we've done a pretty good job of it.
Yeah.
You're never done diversifying. So really it's getting into the railroads, Class 1 railroads, back into the oil field in a bigger way, get that to be a larger percentage. I would like federal, especially if we could do more NASA for this SLS rocket, but heavy industrial, staying in our core competency, which is heavy industrial, engineering, design, manufacturing, repair, service.
And there's no doubt that mining is a mainstay for us,
It
because
is.
that's the kind of equipment that we're good at working on. It's big, and mining will always be not just coal mining, but all mining.
All surface mining.
All kinds of mining will continue to be a mainstay market for LNH.
We'll hear more from Mike and Jeff Wandler in the next episode of North by Northeast.
Here's a look at this week's community calendar. The Campbell County Historical Society is hosting a downtown ghost tour, Spirits of Gillette, on Thursday, October 30th from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Tickets are available in advance at the Chamber of Commerce. This is a family-friendly event. For questions, contact Mary at 660-7630. Buffalo High School Drama Department's fall play, The Foreigner, will be happening on November 7th and 8th from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the high school auditorium. Call Nancy Tabb for more information at 684-1390. The dramatic theater play, The Prisoner of 2nd Avenue, will be happening November 7th and 8th at 7:30 p.m. at the Carriage House Theater in Sheridan. For more information, call the Civic Theater Guild at 672-9886 or call Kim at 763-0091. On November 8th, there will be a holiday bazaar from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the School District Central Office Gymnasium in Sundance. There will be crafts, holiday decor, miscellaneous vendors, and food. For more information, call Rita at 283-1919.
Later on North by Northeast, the Jim Gatchell Memorial Museum.
This week's featured pets come to us from the St. Francis Animal Shelter in Buffalo. We have Aspen, an adult female cat. She's quieter than most, but very lovable. We also have Hobo, an adult male cat. He is a loving guy and is up to date on his shots. To adopt either of these pets, or for more information, you can contact the shelter at 307-684-1738, or you can visit petfinder.com, and please adopt a pet.
Welcome to the Invasion Bar in Kaycee, Wyoming, where their motto is, come as a stranger, leave as a friend. Let's meet the owner.
I'm Amanda Taylor, and this is the Invasion Bar and Restaurant in Kaycee. Kaycee is halfway between Buffalo and Casper, Wyoming. My husband is from here, and he wanted to move back, so I said we need to figure out something for me to do. So this is it. We have some delicious burgers, steaks, seafood. We do breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so we're here all day. Probably our lukanka. It's a Basque sausage. It has different spices in it. It's not spicy, and the main is garlic. Our burgers, probably. We have an amazing half-pound burger. We still patty of our own burger. It's fresh every day. So, we have a mushroom Swiss, jalapeno Swiss, bacon cheeseburger. All of our burgers are very popular. People come from miles to have our burgers. During the summer, we're quite busy. We start off with the Chris Ledoux Days in June. And then we have Sheep Herders Rodeo, and it's in August. They would like to move it to July. We also have the Ranch Rodeo, which is in July, and the Biker Rodeo, and that's in August. So I got a lot of from one end of the spectrum together. Cowboys to bikers. Everybody meets here, and it's very friendly. Great place to be. It's a great place. You come in as a stranger and you definitely leave as a friend. That's our little motto, and it stands true. We made many, many, many friendships here. So. you know, we have the sheep shearers that come in, and they're here for about 3 months. And so they come from, you know, New Zealand, Australia, England, Scotland, Wales, you know, and they come here and they park up their campers behind there, and they're just part of our family here. So, you know, they come, you know, Germany, we have several people from Germany that stop in.
We're here at the Jim Gatchell Memorial Museum in Buffalo, Wyoming, and I'm here with Sylvia Bruner. She is the Assistant Director and Registrar of the museum. So Sylvia, why don't you tell us a little bit about the history of the museum itself?
Sure, I would love to. So the Jim Gatchell Memorial Museum exists because of a man named Jim Gatchell, appropriately enough. He was an early pharmacist in Buffalo, opened his pharmacy in 1900, and he was very interested in Western history, especially Wyoming history. He started touring local battlefields and areas and picking up artifacts, and a lot of the artifacts that he ended up collecting were given as gifts to him by either his friends or maybe his customers. He started displaying these in the back room of his drugstore. The collection grew to be pretty sizable, and when he passed away in the early 1950s, his family wanted to give the items to the county if the county would build a museum building. And the county accomplished that thanks to a lot of generous donations from community members. And in 1957, we opened our doors as the Jim Gatchell Memorial Museum. We have been expanding our collection ever since, mostly through just generous donations from our community members. It's amazing what people have and are willing to give us for our exhibits. So we have expanded from around 1,000 artifacts of the original collection to, if you count documents and photographs now, somewhere in the realm of 19,000.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Excellent. So what are some of the more popular items or displays that you have here at the museum?
I think probably our most asked about item or most requested would be a bugle we have in the collection. And the story is that it belonged to Adolf Metzger, who was the bugler during the Fetterman fight at Fort Kearney in 1866. Now, we've done some research on this bugle, and there's nothing that shows us that it couldn't have been his. It fits perfectly. It was found on the battlefield in the 1880s, and it was given to Jim Gatchell probably during about the 1930s or so.
Okay.
Definitely a very popular item. Very striking when you see it because it's completely smashed, which makes sense. That area was used for a lot of cattle, so they're not exactly gentle creatures.
No, no.
That would be probably our number one. Our Native American War Shield is a very popular item. Very interesting item too because there's just so little known about it. We actually use it as part of our logo for the museum. It's in beautiful condition, has a lot of very interesting artwork on it, and has a big mystery as far as its explanation. One other very popular item, if you could call it an item, is actually this cabin behind us. It's a really large item. This was a homestead cabin built in 1916 north of Kaycee, and it's got a really interesting history from the family. Marshall and Sylvia Jenkins built it. They had 2 children born in it. They ended up with 8 children total, and they ended up leaving the cabin. One of the daughters that was born in the cabin in the 1980s purchased it back, moved it to Story, used it as a guest house for a long time, and then she and her family donated it to the museum in 2006, and we're really happy that we have it. It's beautiful shape, it's really well made, and it's a very popular item. People love to be able to see into it and see what living in a 2-room cabin would have been like.
Well, 2 rooms, that was kind of a luxury.
It was, and it had a true wood floor. Also kind of a luxury item. A lot of these cabins had dirt floors.
And the museum itself, it wasn't constructed to be the museum. What was it before it became
Well, half of the museum was constructed to be the museum. But the Carnegie Library building that is the front door of the museum when you come in now was originally the Johnson County Library. And it was built in 1909 as a Carnegie Library. In the 1980s, though, the library outgrew it, and they needed to expand. And so the county gave it to the museum to be used as administrative offices and whatnot. And then in 2006, we were able to link the buildings together because they both sit at different planes, and this provided a way for our visitors to access both buildings and the whole collection. Made it ADA compliant, so we're easy to get through and navigate through, and we're really happy that we have the Carnegie Library building as our front entrance. One, because it's historical, it's a very cool building, and it's just a beautiful building. It makes this little area look even prettier.
And another nice part about where you guys are located is you're right in the heart of downtown Buffalo.
We are right smack dab in the center, sitting on the corner of Fort and Main Street, so we're very easy to find, easy to navigate to and from.
And as everybody is walking up and down the historic downtown area, it's very
Yes,
easy to find you as
absolutely.
well. So you're right next to the Occidental Hotel.
We are, and we're also right next to the courthouse building, right behind you. That's actually Buffalo's oldest still standing building, built in 1884.
Oh, wow.
It's another really pretty building, very fitting of that time period. So we have just this nice little block showing you kind of that little glimpse into what Buffalo might have looked like in the 1880s.
Sylvia, anything else that you would like to add about the museum?
We would like to just let you know that we are open year-round. It's kind of a nice thing to have in the middle of winter. I know that our tourist season slows down, but it's really nice when people do come through that our doors are open. You can come in, you can check out the collection. People are doing research, anything of that nature, we're here.
What hours are you open?
We're open Monday through Friday from about 8 till 4 during the winter.
Okay. All right. Well, Sylvia, thank you very much for joining us today.
Sure, thanks for having us.